Oda bringing in the year like new chapter. He squoze one in 2 days before the new year. I mean, he already had it writ. I'm sure it wasn't meant to release, but we have it. And yeah, this is the cover page. I'm a big fan of this cover page. I mean, I'm a big fan of every cover page, but they're all decked out in their ninja gear. Nami and Robin, front and center as usual, looking great. Usopp doing some clone jutsus. And yeah, no, the whole crew looks great. Love to see Jinbei in here soon, Oda. But yeah, no, I was really stoked about this cover page. The last one we got was cool. But let's get into it, guys. This is a pretty interesting chapter. I don't think it's the hypest one yet, but there's a lot of stuff going on here. So, we open back up in the Wano country capital, and somebody's arguing with Frankie, and it's actually Frankie's boss, Minamoto, who we actually know. So Frankie has been working under this carpenter that's renowned throughout Wano as like the most legendary carpenter, right? Well, Minamoto is a joke character that Oda wrote in back way back East Blue, which I've been talking about. He wrote this character in because I think it's Higashima, the mountain bandit that Luffy first encounters when he's hanging out with Shanks in the bar, kicks down the door, and they asked how the door got fixed because the door got put back up as soon as the next panel opened. And Oda, being funny as he is, said, "Oh yeah, that's Minatomo. Minatomo, yeah, he can't stand walking by a broken door. He's got to fix it. He's got to go over and fix it." So Oda just not leaving loose ends. Might as well use him somewhere else. He's from Wano, and he kind of did look like he was from Wano before. He had the traditional Japanese, got the, what is that, the tight tie on top. I don't know what the hell that's called. That thing. And always had two nails either sticking out of his nose or in his mouth. And yeah. But yeah, he's yelling at Frankie because Frankie ditched work for a bit and he was checking out the Kamarasaki, and he's just kind of chewing them out. He's like, you know, I know she's the courtesan's an absolute babe, but you gotta come to work, man. And he's like, sorry, forgive me. Frankie's like, I apologize. He's like, she's just such a fine woman. And Minatomo's he's just like, you know, I don't care. He's like, I know you do more than enough work for 10 men. He's like, so you slack off every once in a while, that's fine. He's like, but there's the matter of my word and honor. And he's like, and that you gotta worry about too, you idiot. Like, and Frankie's like, oh God, I'm so sorry. Remember, Frankie's here to get the blueprints to Kaido's mansion. And this guy was the one who built Kaido's mansion. So he has the blueprints. Got hair in my mouth. So while Frankie's been incognito, he's just been working under Minamoto, trying to get closer to those plans, and they kind of made an arrangement that Minatomo would show Frankie the plans once they, you know, he proved his worth and worked for him long enough or something like that. But Minatomo drops some knowledge to Frankie now. He goes, you know, I know how you were asking about the, you know, the blueprints to the mansion on Onigashima, Kaido's mansion, and it's like, yeah, I just remembered something about those. He's like, yeah, about 10 years ago I pawned those off. And Frankie's just like, are you shitting me? He's like, I've been working here for how long? He's like, weeks now. He's like, starts picking up and shaking him. He's like, you bastard. He's like, you wasted all my time. And Minatomo's just like, you know, what's the matter, Frankie? He's like, what happened? And yeah, he just tells him, he's like, I only worked for you just so I could see those damn plans. He's like, you wasted my whole time. And so the other carpenters see Frankie beating up Minatomo, and they get pissed, and they're like, they say, fraud boy. They're like, how dare you grab a hold of our leader? One of them smacks him with a 2x4 and just knocks his teeth and eyes out of his face. Frankie's doing the whole drop from Skypiea look. And yeah, they're chewing him out, and it just starts a big brawl. And Frankie does his Frankosuke launcher, blows up the whole place, and all the carpenters are fighting. People on the outside are laughing. They're like, man, they seem a little more heated than they usually are today. And finally it blows up, and Minatomo's like, that's it, get lost, you nincompoop, you're fired. Frankie's like, fine by me. He's like, I don't need you anyway. It's just classic two guys going at it, and one of them fires and one of them quits. They're buddies. They're going to work together again. Minatomo likes Frankie. It was awesome. I really enjoyed this part. It was quite comedic to me for some reason. And then so, pans over to a different part of the flower capital. You got some people going, some kind of fishmonger? What's the deal with you? I'm trying to figure out, they see some weird fish, and they're like, what sort of fish is this? You see one of Kondro's terribly drawn fish, and he's like, oh, it's a bream. He's like, does bream, and someone said, does bream really look like that? He's like, He's like, where are you? He sees Frankie running by while he's trying to sell some fish. So apparently Kondro's been under the guise of a fisherman. He goes and catches fish. But really, he's just painting fish and selling them, and they're poorly drawn fish. They look about as good as Renosuke looked when he was climbing the top of Zunisha. But yeah, so he's been selling those, and you got this lady who's walking in the background. She's like, how should I cook this? Doesn't look like any ordinary fish. It kind of looks like the fish Luffy caught when they were, was it going down? No, they were going up from Fishman Island. The big, ugly, like, nose-face fish. They look kind of like that. It's kind of weird, but, yeah, so Kondro asks, he's like, where are you in a hurry to, Frankie? Or Renosuke? Be proper. They're under guises right now. And, Renosuke's like, Kondro, he's like, what the hell sort of vendor are you supposed to be? He's like, you're sticking out worse than I am, man. He's like, even the kids are starting to gather around you. Yeah, there's a bunch of kids just pointing at the fish. They think they look funny looking. And, Kondro got a little panel here. It says, Kazuki family retainer Kondro of the Evening Rain. I didn't know he was of the Evening Rain, but yes. So we get a little more of his epithet, I guess, the Evening Rain, but Frankie goes, Kondro, I got some bad news. He's like, my mark was way off. He's like, this isn't gonna pan out. And so they go to a pawn shop because they're gonna try and track down these blueprints now. And they ask the guy who owns the pawn shop. He's like, blueprints from 10 years ago. He's like, well, things like that don't often come in here. So he's like, I suppose that it must be. And Frankie's like, oh, you have it? He's like, awesome. Just assumes. And the guy's like, oh no. He's like, those got sold for sure. He's like, but who bought them? He's like, Tamagoro from the Longhouses. He said he wanted to study it. So Frankie goes running off. Oh yeah, Kondro's gone now. So Frankie goes charging off. He's running around town trying to figure out what's going on. He's wasted so much time just working for this guy. And he shows up at Tamagoro's house and he's like, you got the blueprints, man? And the guy goes, oh yeah, I had them a while ago. He's like, but I had to pay up rent. He's like, I didn't have the money, so I gave him off to Mr. Kobe, my landlord. And Frankie charges up to the landlord and he's like, oh, blueprints, yeah. He's like, they certainly were quite nice. I gave them to one of my favorite geishas. He's like, my dear Kisagawa, do you know her? And they're like, why would we know her? Even if they did, why would they want to talk about a favorite pastime prostitute they were sharing, right? I don't know, kind of strange, but old men are like that, right? So they show up and meet the geisha Kisagawa, and she goes, oh, I didn't really know what they were used for. She's like, so I just used them as a coaster for my pot. And she's and then Tokijiro took it, so now they're on a big rat race. They're just running all over. Frankie's getting his run in for the day. He finds Tokijiro and he's like, oh yeah, I had them. He's like, but then Camel said they'd sell for a pretty penny, so he took them. Like, Camel? And Frankie's he's wheezing now. He's like, wait, Camel? He's like, an animal? And he finds the guy named Camel. He's like, oh, I'm Camel. He's like, alright, those blueprints, yeah, they put me through hell. He's like, some guy stole them off me. His face hidden in it with the mask and everything. He's like, he said he was from Curry though, so he's like, Curry, Jesus. He goes running, and he's gotta find, he finds Den Mushi, and he calls Kinemon up, who's hiding out in an abandoned village in Yuri. And he's like, oh, Kinemon, dude, I give up. He's like, I've been running all over. I've been working for a guy for a week, or a couple weeks now, and it was worth nothing. Like, the best I can tell you is the plans are in Curie. They're near you guys. And Kinemon's like, oh, what? He's like, the blueprints are here. He's like, oh. And Frankie's like, yeah, it seems so, I guess. And Kinemon's like, oh man, I'm so sorry I put you through so much work, Frank. Benosuke. And he's like, Kinemon's like, oh man, I'm sorry I put you through so much work. Like, I apologize, you know. He's like, just go help the others, you know, with some other mission in the capital. Frankie's like, oh, okay, yeah, don't worry about it. He's like, got it. Frankie's happy-go-lucky, dude. He's ready to just move on. He's just done running around. He's ran around enough, okay, guys? And, so now Kinemon just questions himself, like, who needs Kaido's blueprints? And why are they in Kiri? Like, who from Kiri needs this? You know, it makes sense if there was outside sources like pirates that have invaded, even X-Drake or some of these guys taking them. Someone from Kiri, already a really broken down poor city. All I can imagine is Shootenmaru Hitetsu, and I'm gonna go with Shootenmaru. I think he wants to save Wano, but he's just being a dick because he feels like he's been betrayed by Kinemon and the others who they were warped out of time for 20 years. It wasn't their fault. But regardless, someone in Curie has it, so that's going to be Kinemon's next step. He may use Lord Duke to go with him and help him figure that out, since he's working alongside the Minks right now, it seems, closely in Curie. And so some of the other Minks are telling Lord Duke, they're like, you know, we've got quite a lot here. He's like, we stole a lot of food and weapons from the factories, but they're like, but if we do any more, Kaido and them are already going to get more suspicious than they are. And Duke's just like, yeah, nope, we're well done, we appreciate it. He's like, did you leave the card? And now if you remember last time, Duke and Shootenmaru were fighting it out. They weren't really stoked about seeing each other again, and had this awesome sword clash for a moment. We didn't see how it ended, obviously. It doesn't seem like there was casualties. They just kind of left of their own accord. But they leave a note for Kaido after taking all the supplies. And it says, the head of the mountain bandits were here. And then it says Shootenmaru underneath. And like, I wonder if the trick will work. And Duke's like, well, at very least, the man himself will get mad. So they, Shootenmaru and Lord Duke, pretty much all of them right now, they're not getting along. And Shootenmaru seems to be kind of bullheaded. He don't give a damn. And so Duke's loving just pissing him off, I guess. Well, now we get to the page everyone saw during Jump Festa. It got everyone going. I thought this chapter was just pretty much going to be just straightforward Zoro. Because we haven't seen him in a bit, and we've only seen like a glimpse of him before, and we kind of only get a glimpse of him again. But a little more intrigue on what's going to happen, and Zoro is definitely going to be hitting some impactful stuff soon. I would imagine he's going to start off a lot of this stuff. That's how I feel, at least. He's caused trouble since we got into this arc. Him and Luffy, and Luffy's in the prison. I mean, that'd be kind of crazy if Zoro ended up in prison, but I don't think they're going to do that. I think Oda's got his hands full enough with the cast that's in the prison that he's trying to blend together and eventually lead to the break. But yeah, Zoro shows up and he's walking through the ruins of Kibi with a strange, they call him a drum carrier, a Taiko drum carrier. So actually, let's look up what Taiko is. So it's just a specific kind of drum that he carries and uses. Usually I think it's carried at the waist, kind of like marching bands have the drum line. But his name is Tano Yasu, and he also just prefers to go by Yasu. And he's kind of an eccentric fellow. So yeah, Zoro and him are walking through the ruins of Kibi, and they're heading towards the Flower Kingdom. I'll just cut to that. While they're walking, he's like, Yasuo's just like, if I'm with you, mister, he's like, I won't be missing any meals. And Zoro's like, look, can you just shut it for a little? And the other guy just, don't even worry. He's like, ew. He's like, shut it. How kind of you. He's like, I suppose it's hard to worry about someone else's throat like that. No? And he keeps going on. He's like complimenting Zoro. I don't know. I think this dude's in Okama. It's not direct, but he's like hitting on Zoro a bunch, and he's pretty eccentric, but I wouldn't go quite that far. He just might be a eccentric old dude. Like, you're a pretty boy. He's like, I bet the girls can barely keep their hands off you, mister. So I was like, hey, I appreciate you paying for my sushi earlier on the boat. And this is the guy he was riding on the boat with, apparently. He gets, oh, nonsense. Don't even worry about it. I was like, the moment I saw you, is like, I knew nothing would go wrong if I followed you. See, I just knew it. And so apparently they've been traveling a little bit while all this stuff with Luffy's been going on. And this dude paid the last 2 pennies he even had, like, flat broke. And he's like, but the rest of this was all luck. He's like, I owe you dearly, Zoro. And don't really understand why, and I guess they end up going to an inn together, and there's gamblers, and so they're sitting there gambling. Zoro starts gambling, and he just kept winning. And the gamblers got so mad, they started to, try and beat Zoro up and take their money back. They were pretty pissed. And Zoro just started hucking them around, and the old guy was just so impressed. He's like, man, you threw him this way and that way? He's like, I didn't say anything, but normally no one messes with those people. They're actually Yakuzas from the capital, but they're underlings of Kirishiro. And we know who Kirishiro is. He's the one who's been hanging out with the geishas. He seems to have a lot of involved in hanging out with Orochi. They kind of work directly as like a brute force group that works outside the government officials for Orochi. They handle dirty business so the capital can look clean, And the old guy is just like, I was so scared beyond belief. He's like, if I was a girl, my knees would have given out. He's just, yo! He does this yo-like quirk. Apparently, he's kind of trying to sing out zingers when he's doing this. As Zoro's walking, he's like, He's like, this place, he's like, I think I've been here before, Kasu. And apparently Kasu means trash. He's just calling this dude trash. And he's like, Kasu! He's like, man, you're not wrong. He's like, but it's Yasu. And he's like, yeah, the city you see in the distance. He's like, that's the flower capital. He's like, right in front of it is a little hamlet called Leftovers Town. He's like, that's my town. And why hamlet? You'll see once you get there. So we've already been to Leftovers Town. I don't know if this is, like, there's multiple ones that just hang out outside the flower capital to survive. But from what I understand, this should be Okabori. But I guess we'll find out. Or is it Okabori? Or no, Omegasi is in Curie. I don't know. But Leftovers Town I thought we'd already seen, so but that's where they're heading for now, just outside the flower capital, and then they'll probably make their way in. We go back to the flower capital, leaving Zoro and Yasu to their misadventures. And we see quite the interesting conversation going on here. To fight with pirates, you buy weapons from pirates. Like, what a strange idea. He's like, your intermediary Joker, or Doflamingo, is now gone. He's like, and now that you've lost your screen to hide behind, you've got no choice but to come negotiate with me directly. It's like, you're panicking, and that means I can scalp you for all you're worth. It's like, that being said, yeah, some deep, crazy stuff. This is Lord Orochi holding a meeting with none other than CP0. Boys, CP0. Oh, they ain't at Reverie. Not all of them, at least. They all ain't at Impel Down. Not all of them, at least. There's 3 of them. So 2 of the ones in this picture I actually have up. The front one and the one on the left side are in this one. And then a different one we haven't seen before yet He's wearing like a Hawaiian mask, from what I've heard. That's what those masks are. And they're holding this conference with Orochi. And the one front and center, the one that usually talks for CP0, is, that being said, this is a pretty pickle we're in indeed. Because now that they don't have Joker, apparently the Marines have been using Joker or Doflamingo to get to Wano and Kaido's factories to get weapons made. Now, yes, Kaido's a pirate group and he's making weapons for himself to start a war, but he don't care. He'll sell weapons to the Marines. He's definitely confident in his ability to take them on, being a Yonko. And why not make a pretty penny off of it? And now that Joker's in prison, they have to go directly to Orochi. Now, Joker, wildly enough, is more level-headed than this bastard. Orochi, on the other hand, he sees himself as the top dog. Like, his country, like most dictators, they start believing their own BS. And he's built this country up and been king so long, he feels like world government can't take us, which they've shown that they aren't willing to risk going to Wano. It's too difficult. There's too many strong opponents there for them to physically have a war on the Grand Line against them to try and make them join their country. And then also they have Kaido backing them, so yeah, nobody's messing with Wano for the most part, but they want to use them to get weapons. Now, Orochi, on the other hand, he's pushing his luck a little. All three of these dudes in this building could kill him outright. No problem. Just that easy. And start working with someone else besides Kaido. Maybe it'd start a war with Kaido. Who knows? But you start pushing the world government around, you'll see what you'll get. Regardless, Orochi goes, he's like, my Wano is self-sufficient. Look around you. He's like, the people around here, they seem quite happy, don't they? He's like, if there was anything we desire, it'd be more power. He's like, the last time we went with battleships, but this time, we want Dr. Vegapunk. What? Oh, crazy, dude. Okay, battleships are one thing. They can always make more battleships. Dr. Vegapunk, he's the top dollar thing. No amount of money is worth having that guy. He's advanced their technology 500 years. He's so advanced, some of the things that he's living with are limiting him. He's a modern day Da Vinci in his own world, you know. He's the best of the best. And even the CP0 agent, he's like, that's impossible. Orochi, the balls on the goddamn man, pulls a gun, shoots the guy in the head, and he shoots one of the CP0s. Yeah, obviously doesn't like hit his head. He used, you know, his body harden. What is it? It's like, can't remember. But anyways, one of the 6 powers, he bounces the bullet off his head, but he bounces back. It's the guy in the back left that takes the bullet, and everything calms down. You see all these dragons' heads kind of popping up over Orochi. That makes me think, I've heard people saying it's all a lie, that Orochi's not really a devil fruit user, and it could be. We'll see what he looks like in a minute and a bunch of the other stuff. He's a pretty strange fellow. Well, I think he still has one. I think Orochi's not someone to be messed with. I still think he has some power, but I think CP0 could take him mid-diff. At most. There's 3 of them there, so low difficulty, honestly. But, you know, the CP0 guy screams, he's like, that's impossible. We'll never give you Dr. Vegapunk. That's just unreasonable. And Orochi goes, I'm not asking you if it's possible or not. He's like, Celestial Dragons, the Marines know this. We do not fear them. He's like, even if you all banded together, you could never topple this country. And he does have a very dragon-looking face in the silhouette we see on the last little panel before we move on from the CP conversation. But it reminds me kind of how Kaido's eyes look, how Luffy's looked at the end of the arc, kind of with the Snake Man, but just has that more serpent look. And, but it kind of fits his character, we'll see. And he's like, on top of all this, not being able to topple my country, I have Kaido at my back. Like I said, the man is well armored. So he moves on from his tense conversation, which I'll say he handled with balls of steel. He moves on, leaves CP0 behind. He enters his banquet with geishas opening sliding door after sliding door. The panels really set up a mood. I like it. Others doing good stuff here. Lord Orochi walks the scene. Everyone's bowing. He goes, not a care in the world, and laughs. Like, everything's ready. Not a care in the world. And then, so the people, cooks of Wano start, tonight's menu is chicken raised in the beautiful Orochi plantation, stuffed and quickly cooked. Orochi goes, I don't feel like chicken. Yes, sir, we'll toss it out immediately. Next, delicious vegetables. Don't need them. Fatty sublime mackerel. Oh, mackerel? Yeah, that's my favorite. And for sashimi, we have tuna. Like, oh, tuna! That's the best. Like, the sake is the best, the brewer's best also. And so, sashimi is, it's actually a different way of sushi. It's like where they ferment the fish, I think, for 4 years. Like, I watched a video, I think, on the Big Think about that, too. It's an old process of making sushi that's different. It takes, like, yeah, a couple years to make one actual plate of it. But, as we see here, the big and amazing Orochi has his choice from his plantation, and he's quite the wasteful fellow. I wouldn't be surprised to see Sanji insult this guy. I don't know about fighting him, but definitely he's got a crazy attitude and he's quite wasteful. He's definitely flaunting his wealth and how confident he feels in his lifestyle. And so, what's next for Orochi after the meals? He goes, oh, and what about the women? And we brought all the popular geishas, every one of them that we could. They're like, raise your heads, and all the geishas raise their heads from their bows, and they get up. We got gorgeous women all around Orochi, and who else is in there but Robin? We got glorious, gorgeous Robin, the geisha, dancing. Now remember, she's not a courtesan, so she's not a whore, but she's not a prostitute. So she just dances and sings and looks pretty, essentially, and entertains, as they put it. So Orochi says, so splendid. He's like, sing, dance, without a care in the world. Again, without this care in the world. It seems like they're really hitting down on this point that to Orochi, the world matters not to Wano. They can take it or leave it. Not that Wano hasn't been self-sufficient, but he doesn't think the world, they need the world. It kind of ties back to the old idea of, like, China and Japan. They had these ideas, being the countries from the rising sun. They were better than the rest of the world for a long period. That they were the first people and they were more educated and they didn't need to be involved in the trivial parts of the world because it didn't hold anything to them. There was no benefit to them in that view. And so back to the geishas and the beauty of it. Orochi finally notices the geisha he's been waiting for, or should I say the courtesan, Kamarasaki. So you're here too. I've been wanting to meet you. She's like, yes, me too, your majesty. His eyes are hearts. He's just, ooh, oh my. And we get our first look at the man. And boy, is he, he's a looker. This is Kurozumi Orochi, the Wano country shogun. It's like, come, next week is the fire festival. Let this be the opening battle. Yeah, he calls his banquet his big festival. But yes, Lord Orochi is quite the looker. I think a lot of people had high expectations for him not to be a goofy dude. I was 50-50. He could have been the most serious, crazy looking, scary guy. He could have been this. He could have been this. I was both ways of it. And frankly, I actually like how crazy he is and weird he is. He's like, yeah, totally spawned him 2.0 with just being a douche, being a weird looking guy, and he's probably gonna get his ass kicked quite a bit. And yeah. But he's not the only one hanging around. So besides Robin and Komurasaki, we also have the head of the Kiyoshiro clan, Intio, or I forget how to pronounce this guy's name all the time. Or Inamiri. I'm gonna go with Inamiri because that's about as well as I can pronounce it, but Inamiri's also hanging around because he's good pals with the Shogun, even though he crap talks him a bit, it seems. So the feast begins, and you have Orochi toasting to everyone. He's like, enjoy this Wano country. He's like, don't confuse it with for heaven. He's like, eat and drink your heart out. All the people, the top 1%ers, like any other dictatorship, like, yeah, Wano's great. Hell yeah, this feast is awesome. Every night's a party. Hell yeah. Geishas as far as the eye can see. And the party begins in Wano, and it zooms out, it pans out, and you see the wasteland outside of the capital. You see the factories off in the distance. And it just adds to the dreariness that the over-indulging that goes on in the capital, while the rest of the whole country suffers. It just really bangs it home there. But we'll take off, we'll let their party go, have a good time, you guys. Enjoy your time, Orochi. We'll show you off again because you're just a crazy looking dude. Jesus. He's not as weird looking as the headliner for Kaido, the warden, but he's a strange looking guy. By the way, all the images I've been using, and I'll reiterate again at the end, I guess, but they're all images generally used. I took a couple from like the wiki and like the anime, but most of the images that are in color or manga panels have been taken from different sources throughout DeviantArt. I mean, you got Mike Pixel and Amano Moon, I think it's how you pronounce it, but yeah, I've used their art a bit, and they do really good stuff. The Coloring World did the Kurosaki picture, and it was really good looking, well done. The Kiyoshiro is from Soul of Manga. He does some good stuff. Amano Moon, I used a couple for, and then Golden Hans I've used quite a few for. Got Golden Hans, he does some cool stuff, and really well drawn, filled in art. And then Fanal Ishiro, I think, is one of the other ones. I used their art for the thumbnail art I did for the Sangoro shop video. But yeah, no, that's just a couple, name them. I mean, there's more that I've used that aren't on here, but Brian Verhart and stuff like that, but definitely pay those people respect, and I do not claim any of their art. I just wanted to use it fair use to express some of these panels, since I'm trying to avoid pissing off Viz Media. Everyone else seems to be doing that right now. Back to the chapter, enough blabbering. We cut over from the Flower Palace in the Flower Capital. I don't know if it's the Flower Palace, but to outside the palace in the Flower Capital. And we have Sanji going, he's like, what is it? He's like, what's happening? And Law just, Blackleg, get out of here, go hide somewhere. Sanji's like, why? Chaffee, he's like, if they keep coming for more, he's like, I'll give them as much as they can handle. He's like, no, not that. He's like, these people who we are, and then he gets cut off before he can even explain anything. So the townspeople start running, and they're like, the flying fighters are here to kill the Soba merchant. They're like, they're the 6 strongest headliners, 2 of them, Drake and Page 1. It's Page 1. I keep wanting to say Pajone, because maybe I've been reading part 5 of JoJo, I don't know. But it's Page 1. Sanji recognizes Drake. He's like, Drake? And oh boy, they're going out with Drake and Pajone this time. Man, he drew some great stuff. People predicted that he'd go all out with this, and it was. I really dug this. You got X-Drake, and I'll expand it a little. It is awesome. X-Drake looks great in his like half form, I guess. It's like, because they have like, just normal, use like human form. Then he has like his enhanced like dragon and or not dragon his I think it's a dragon fruit, but his dinosaur and human form, and then he has just full on dinosaur. They each have their own perks. So that's X Drake, and then an X Drake is dragon fruit ancient type model Allosaurus, and then he's there with page 1, and so they're like a dinosaur squad right now. And page 1, he's I don't know if he's been working under Kaido for a long period or like Drake just joined, but he's dragon fruit ancient type model Spinosaurus, and hell yeah, they look intense, they look good. And not only are those two there, but Hawkins is also hanging around. So wild. He has his own dragon squadron. Like, I had thoughts of this, that there's gonna be different squadrons of based on like abilities or type of devil fruits, but it seems to be coming together that way. The X Drake, look, he's I think been kind of underplayed up until now, but he's gonna be kind of a bit of a badass. I feel like I don't know how committed to Kaido he is. He seems to have other things on his agenda, but he went straight out to find Kaido when he landed in the New World, and he's been working alongside him pretty well since. So he might have just chose to work with him because he knew he needed to. But yeah, quite the show up of people here. And X Drake is just, why'd they call us specifically? He's like, and why are you here, Hawkins? Bajone's like, for show, right? He's like, that's always important. He's like, and so it seems like Pajone just, you know, is more into showing off the power of Kaido and the Shogun of Wano. X Drake just feels like his time's being wasted. This is some trivial matter. And Hawkins says, he's like, I came here in pursuit of a specific man. So Hawkins has still been chasing after Law. And he just goes on to say, I thought you have something you hunt that's more important to you than this mission, eh, Drake? Law? That's my guess. I think he's looking for Law. They do have tiebacks with the island, the Swallow Island, where they got the devil fruit that Law has, the surgeon fruit, I think. His X Drake escaped from his dad, who was a pirate. His group of pirates, he escaped there and joined the Marines, and then left the Marines and became a pirate. Lived quite the checkered life. I think his dad used to be a Marine and then left the Marines to become a pirate. It's just the same. But X Drake was a rear fleet admiral, I think it's what it is. It's like not quite a admiral. Oh, what is it? He's just a rear admiral? I don't know. He wasn't quite an admiral, but he was up there. He was quite up there. But boy, yeah, thick boy. Damn good chapter. It was all around interesting. Next chapter, because there's no break, is gonna be crazy. Once the New Year starts, I was starting off with a bang, man. Oh, it's gonna be good. I like this chapter a bunch. And Orochi was awesome. I'm psyched to see where this goes. But I'm gonna go. You guys, catch you in the New Year's. I might do a video tomorrow. I don't know. We do our annual New Year's stream, so this will be the 3rd year running. But we'll get that all dealt with. I might do something tomorrow if I get up early enough. Other than that, we'll catch you in the new year, 2019, boys. And we'll be talking One Piece, obviously, and some other things. I look forward to the next year. It's going to be big. I'm going to try and, 1, up the production quality. 2, constantly increase the quality of video editing. That's something I'm going to be working on. And just all around, more content, better content. Happy New Year's. Snoop Reviews out.